In the near future, Earth teeters on the edge of environmental collapse. During an emergency UN summit, the global food and water crisis reaches a boiling point. Their solution? Close all borders and require every country to reduce its population by 20% within a year. Governments begin incentivizing voluntary euthanasia with financial compensation to families. Citizens venture outdoors under UV-proof umbrellas. Drinking water comes from docks trucks. Department of Citizen Strategy. Their agents clad in full-body suits retrieve volunteers' remains from their homes. Downtown, propaganda signs brand the reduction plan an opportunity. Two movers, disgusted, chuck their coffees at the posters. Minutes later, those same movers are delivering a piano to the upscale home of retired news anchor Charles. On television, Charles's son Jared defends the reduction plan. As a government-employed anthropologist, he even suggests allowing minors to enlist, citing his own 10-year-old son. The movers call out the hypocrisy. Jared hasn't volunteered. Charles agrees. He's never thought highly of his son. Later, Charles pours his liquor down the drain while Dawn, his second wife, struggles in the kitchen, teetering on the brink of a breakdown. He comforts her as a news report flashes across the screen. York Therapeutics faces trial, and Charles' daughter Rachel, the CEO, is taking the fall. Jared arrives home to a call from his furious ex-wife. His televised comments made it sound like he'd let their son volunteer, sending the boy into an emotional tailspin. Jared insists his words were twisted, but his ex hangs up before he can speak to the child. Inside, he berates Dawn for cooking with banned ingredients. Upstairs, Charles pulls the UV sheet off the window, letting in toxic light. Soon Rachel arrives, with her daughter Mia. Charles is irritated. He wanted an adult-only dinner. But Rachel refuses to leave Mia behind, threatening to leave herself. Outside, adopted son Noah hesitates at the gate, anxiety gripping him. He calls his girlfriend Grace, who calms him with a gentle encouragement. Just then, Charles' youngest daughter Ashley pulls up and invites Noah into her car. He confides that he met Grace at addiction recovery, that she's been clean for years, and asks Ashley to keep it private. Inside, Charles surprisingly embraces Noah, drawing raised eyebrows. At dinner, he raises a toast, apologizing for the years he spent prioritizing work over family. But dessert brings the real reason he gathered them. He and Dawn have volunteered. Rachel's furious. She would have left Mia home if she'd known. She sends the girl to watch TV. Jared doesn't understand. They don't need the money. Charles explains he spent a lifetime watching disasters unfold on TV, seeing how humanity poisoned the earth, and he had 4 children, making things worse. He fears one of them could be drafted, but if he and Dawn go, the family's safe. Jared argues the law only allows 1 volunteer per household. Charles can take a child's place if needed. Not that he thinks any of them are in danger. These laws rarely touch the wealthy. Still, Charles won't budge. Dawn supports him. As a celebrity chef, she believes it sets an example. Ashley accuses Charles of caring more about his image and York's reputation than his own children. Noah snaps. He slams the table with his cane, then storms off. On TV, protesters demand transparency from docs, accusing them of acting like a shadow military. The ad break shows volunteers being hailed as heroes. Noah confronts Charles, claiming the government's lying. He thinks they've already hit 20%, but continue enlisting to eliminate certain groups. The poor do it for cash. Undocumented immigrants do it for their kids' citizenship. Jared dismisses it as conspiracy talk, but Charles doesn't trust Jared. He works for the same administration that denied climate change. He also blames the surge of anti-Asian rhetoric for the fire that destroyed Dawn's restaurant. The tension erupts when Charles calls Jared a disappointment. In a petty attempt at redemption, Jared reveals that Noah is a recovering addict. Ashley jumps in to defend her brother. He's clean, and he's found love with a woman he met in recovery. Charles is skeptical when he learns Grace is also a former addict, but softens when Noah assures her sobriety and shows a photo. Meanwhile, Mia browses social media, stumbling upon cruel, photoshopped images mocking her mother. In the kitchen, Charles finds a note. Dawn is gone. She's changed her mind. Worse still, Doc's agents have already arrived. Charles had timed the dinner as his farewell. Agent Bob enters and Charles tries to reschedule. In the office, Bob presents cancellation paperwork. but signing it would freeze their assets, publicly brand Charles a traitor, and land him in prison. Charles refuses. Left with no way out, Charles proceeds. He lies down in bed, surrounded by most of his children. Noah stays behind at the piano. Charles apologizes for being a difficult father and promises to split his estate evenly. Bob injects a sedative, then a second chemical. Charles dies painlessly. As the body's taken to the docks bus, Bob reminds the family they owe a second body. Charles promised two. Noah lashes out, but Bob calls in backup. Armed agents flood the home. They give the family 2 hours to choose someone to take Don's place. Jared tries calling his government contacts. No signal. The house has been scrambled. Bob explains Mia is exempt. They don't get paid for minors. The bodies go to private companies. He used to be a corrections officer. Prisons emptied quickly when inmates were the first to volunteer. When Bob reaches for Mia, Noah intervenes. An agent drops him with a blow. Mia is escorted to the bus. Bob insists she won't be harmed, just removed from the decision-making. He reveals that Dawn's being tracked, but odds are slim. He shares the contract, noting Charles cared more about public image than family. Jared tries throwing his weight around again, but Bob shrugs it off. Then comes the psychological warfare. CS monitors every citizen, emails, browsing history, private messages. Bob reads their files aloud. Jared abandoned his wife for a younger woman, who cheats weekly. His son wants him gone. Mia's tormented online because of Rachel's scandals. Rachel's board plans to fire her. She's also wanted in connection to several bank robberies. Rachel punches Bob. He drops the files on a table, tells them to choose, or the agents will choose for them, and walks out to play cards with Mia on the bus. Ashley reads Charles' emails. Whatever she finds, it rattles her. Then she reads her own profile. Casting agents think she's a terrible actress. She spirals. The others quietly read their files. Jared tries to rally himself with a few desperate face slaps. Finally, the siblings gather. Jared nominates Noah. "You owe the family," he says. "You were adopted, and you squandered the chance. You killed someone." Ashley won't stand for it. She turns it around. Jared should go. Even his ex-wife would agree. Voices rise, accusations fly. Someone shoves. Noah silences the room with a shout. He says he came to make amends. He knows he hurt the family, but now he's clean. He's in love. He has hope.